My history being a producer. Now, I didn't say I was a successful producer. Got your ass. That's pretty much the culmination of it all. My favorite beat tape I've ever made. This is like what I wanted to hear when I was a kid. Listening to beats when I couldn't understand how to sample, when I couldn't understand how Dilla was doing these things. Take the sample, you chop it, you repeat it, you change, you tweak a little couple things, you mess with the bar and the fourth bar, and then you give it a loop. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that's what you did. I wanted to sound like Ninth Wonder and like, oh man, I understand production. That was kind of my downfall, is I would watch the Ninth Wonder Rhythm Roulette. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's amazing. It changed everything for me. I didn't understand just like how, I didn't understand how you sample. But he was taking these parts. There's that one with Jermaine Jackson. I remember hearing that, and he would just add a break to it. I don't remember if he layers drums or if he just adds a break and then a bass line. I remember just being like, how does this dude do this? And I would watch that Rhythm Roulette over and over and over and over and try to understand, why can't I also do this? Until eventually you learn how to do it. That's what happened. I learned how to do it. My style sort of became of what my favorite producers were. Talking Dilla. We're talking Ninth. We're talking DJ Premier. We're talking Madlib. We're talking MF Doom. And I can make a whole video on how he is one of the most underrated producers ever, because people only talk about this dude as a rapper, but I swear on my life, this dude's beats are also amazing. And I'm sure you guys know this just from the Sade flip. I'm sure you already know that off of Doomsday. You already know he's a great producer. Doom also has this is a Doom snare. You know what I mean? You know this is a Doom kick. When you get to that level, I think that's when it's like, this is yours. When I was working at Target a few months ago, there was a song off of Like Water for Chocolate that came on, which I don't know why they're playing Common deep cuts at Target at fucking 3 in the morning, but go off, King. And I start hearing the Moog, and I start hearing the kicks, and I'm like, wait a minute, is this Dilla? Shazam it, and it is Dilla. And then, like, you gotta understand, the Shazam barely picked up because the music is so quiet. So I'm like, I'm also tweaking. I'm like, am I tripping? You know, because I got Cannibal Corpse playing in one ear, and like the song, or maybe it'd been in both ears, but then all of a sudden, you know, my song fades out, and all of a sudden I hear that Dilla kick drum. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I heard Common, and then I was like, this has gotta be Dilla. You know what I mean? This has gotta be. That's when you get your own distinctive style, and it's your own thing that transcends you. So when I heard Ninth Wonder do it like that, loved Wu-Tang Clan, I just didn't understand how to flip. And then I heard Gods Don't Bleed by West Side Gun and Trying to Make a Move by the God Fahim. And that changed how I did everything, because I didn't realize you could just make 2-bar loops. Changed my whole perception how beats could sound. I remember I tried to make so many beats that sounded like that, and you know what the crazy thing is, when I heard Trying to Make a Move though, that is when really everything clicked, because then I was like, okay, I don't need these other sounds from FL. I could just use my MIDI, because I had a drum machine at the time. Just use the drum machine, use the sample from a record, and then it all started clicking. Then as I started getting better, I started to understand more. There was bad influences too. So when I was about 20, I originally started cosplaying as Rock Marciano. The problem when you start doing Ka and Rock Marciano style, they don't have drums. So I wasted a lot of time just making loops sound good. Like, I was always pretty decent at making ambiance, making shit sound textured. But at this point, I think that's really when I was starting to do it, because paying attention to it, because that's all there was to pay attention to. It's just loops. There's no drums. You're not really doing anything. You're taking a sample and then looping it. But I was also a rapper, so it wasn't just like the production aspect. I was looking at it as like, okay, I can rap this on this, you know? I met some dudes, and I'm not going to talk about the falling out. I'm not mad at folks, but there were some rappers. I wanted to be like their in-house producer. I could also rap, so I was going to be like, okay, we could do this. I'll send you these beats. Da-da-da-da. You guys rap on this. We can make an album. Money got involved and time got involved. It kind of just self-destructed. But the one thing about meeting those dudes and talking to those dudes is I got the best I ever got after. It really inspired me to do better. While we were working together, I really wanted stuff to be beautiful and stuff to sound good, us to be like a cohesive unit. There was so much stuff I wanted to teach these dudes. There was questions I had about how they could teach me how to mix, because they understood how to mix vocals way better than I could. But there was so much musical stuff, so much historical stuff I wanted to teach them that could go into our group. They didn't know anything about rap. They were very much posers. They did not know a lick of anything. And I'm like, damn, how are you guys rapping if you don't know anything about rap? Like, that's weird. And we didn't get to talk about it because of, I'm not going to divulge everything that happened, but there's things they did. It is what it is. Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Walter. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, bro. Fast forward, I moved out of that town, started making beats. It changed my style because I went from blasting beats on speakers to headphones. So my sound kind of changed too. I got into metal not that long after. And so when I got into metal, stuff started sounding really crazy because unfortunately I didn't get into metal until about 2022. Because of that, there was a lot of grounds I've had to cover. I've pretty much only been into metal for a cup of coffee. Yeah, I liked Kiss. Yeah, I liked Deep Purple. Yeah, I liked classic stuff. I liked Sabbath. I liked Maiden. I liked hardcore punk before then, but metal, like Entombed, no way. Didn't know about Entombed. I knew Death. I knew Killswitch Engage, and I knew metalcore and stuff, but I didn't know it had a name. I didn't know the difference. It was just I liked electronic music and hip hop and jazz. I liked samba, I liked bebop, I liked post bop, I liked hard bop, I liked cool jazz, I liked fusion jazz. I was way more into jazz. And then I got super just entranced in grindcore because my friend sent me Terrorizer. We'll talk about this more in a different video. Anyways, changed how my beats sounded. And so once they started sounding crazy, I was like, I don't want to sample anymore. I want to go against the grain with hip hop. So I stopped doing hip hop. They started sounding like fucking house beats. Kept going from there until eventually the inevitable return to making hip hop beats, and they started sounding good. I made all these beats from 2020 to now off of SP404. Everything was sounding better. That's pretty much where we're at now. There's been no real evolution of my style in terms of beats. But the thing is, with this tape, this was my magnum opus. This was what I wanted to hear. This was my Ross G. This was Obliv. This was Knowledge. This was Dilla. This was everything I wanted to hear in a tape. And I was hoping there would be people out there that would be interested in that. Turns out nobody's interested in that. I tried to do the marketing thing. I tried messaging people, messaging playlisters. I've even paid playlisters off of Submit Hub, because they really dig the vibe, bro. And it's not sustainable. It's the only way you can make it like this. And I'm not even trying to diss, but all I'm gonna say is this: if you want to make it as a producer, you have to pay, period. You have to pay rappers to like you, period. I don't think there's a way to do it naturally unless you're just in the right spot at the right time. People I know personally that just pay the fucking $1,500 feature and they get a terrible verse, but hey, look, now they're on Spotify and they can put the dude's name. When I marketed it, I got over 4,000 listeners on Spotify. There was no follower retention. There would be people that listened to 2 beats or 3 beats, and then that was it. So then I started contacting actual people. There was this kid, and I was like, hey, I didn't know it was this. He was he had to be 16 or 17. He was like, no, man, I don't think it doesn't really fit the vibe of my playlist, but we can do a collab. And I'm like, okay. I mean, if we collab, then it could be a playlist, you know what I mean? And people will go and follow it. I'm like, sure. Send them some beats, some fall time vibes, basic lo-fi hip hop to the upteenth degree. Just because, I was looking for more streams. I wanted some stuff that was more accessible. Folks, straight up, didn't really do much to the beats. Just put his name on it, uploaded it. He didn't promote it. He didn't do a lick of anything. This kid has 50,000 listeners on Spotify. All he does is put his name on stuff and call it a day. When I talked to him on Discord, I talked to him twice. he was much more interested in the numbers. Anyway, since then he's took down the collab we made, and it's like it never happened. Which also has made me lose listeners on Spotify as well. And there was another guy who is like a drummer, but he also could play keys, and so he sends me like 4 samples. I make 4 beats. Some of them were worse than others. Some of them were decent. He's really feeling one. He plays keys on one. I'm like, okay, this is cool. What should we do next? Oh, I don't really have anything right now. I'm like, oh, okay. Message him in like 3 days. Hey, man, you got anything? Haven't heard from him since. It's been 3 years almost now. That's what happens. He asked me for sauce on like how do I mix my beats. That's it. He never reached out again. I've linked with people in real life. I've done the Discord thing. I've done friends of friends thing over the internet who just get mad and pay producers for features. I'm not saying you got to give up after that, but it's like after a point, man, I was like, none of these people are dead ass for real serious. None of them. They just want money for nothing, and they want to get their clicks and their listens, and they want people to buy some of their wax, and like other than that there's no actual appreciation for the tunes. There is none. And it's funny because they used to say the same thing about me, and maybe it was true when I was 16, but as a 25-year-old in music since I was a teenager, learning instruments, learned how to become a good producer, I realized like this isn't it. I don't want to be in this scene. I don't want to be, because the only thing I didn't try was, well, why don't you do DJ sets? And I've dabbled at home. At one point I was like, I got more into metal. I'm like, I don't want to listen to house music, and I don't want to listen, like, no one's gonna want to listen to Billy Cobham, and no one's gonna want to listen to Emperor. So it's like, okay, I guess I'm done with this. I'm not gonna go do rap shows. I'm not gonna go do DJ sets. I do not want to collab and link with people. I'm done with this. I still make beats to this day. I still sample. I still do all the same stuff, but there is not a monicum of want to make it in the scene. There won't be new stuff from like that. That whole thing from me is retired. I'm a drummer. I want to learn guitar more, bass, do my own music, because even with a band, you have to entrust into people. I've only been drumming for almost 4 years now. So much to learn. But that's the musical stuff that keeps me going. I'm a drummer now more than, a producer or anything like that. Making beats taught me a lot about music in general. I didn't know that like I'd be able to read drum sheet music. I didn't know I could read it at all until I tried, and I was like, wait, this is just FL. It's funny just realizing stuff like that, and it helped me a lot to be disciplined in other spots in life too. I'm going to college now. Believe it or not, making beats every single day for all those years really, really helped. I think there's just a lot of things to be learned if you're willing to learn. And as a producer that was taking samples, I listened to a lot of music, appreciate a lot of music, and moved on. But I took the music with me. I took jazz, and I took some old rock from the 60s, that Grand Funk Railroad from the 70s, I took Iron Butterfly, and I took Deep Purple and some Cream and all that stuff. I didn't have much appreciation for it, but when I started sampling it and really listening to it and understanding it more, I began to get an appreciation, and that's probably what led me more into metal and being open to it, honestly. Yeah, man, that's my experience making beats. If you want to do it, I would say go for it, but you got to do it because you like the music. And it also depends on what kind of producer you are. If you're an FL Studio producer, Godspeed to you, brother, but you're going to not be in the game that long, I don't think, because you have to evolve with the sound. So what are you truly appreciating? You know what I mean? There's no tradition in what you're doing. You're just doing what's popular. And I also feel that imposter syndrome too. I was only doing what was popular. Lo-fi hip-hop was pretty big when I was 16. Vaporwave was pretty big when I was 16. Wouldn't you know it, a lot of people I was talking to musically were doing the same things. Now, a lot of them don't make music at all, period, because they were doing what was popular at the time. You have to make sure you are into it for real. I think if you want to try it, you should try it. I think it's very much worth an attempt. If you don't like music and you want to be a producer, don't fucking try it. For the love of God, please don't try it, because if you get popular and I have to hear your shitty songs vicariously through people or on an ad or something, you're going to drive me up the wall. Don't do it for views. Don't do it for clicks. I'm not saying you got to give up on your dreams, but you got to be realistic too. At the end of the day, you're not you're a service in a world where there's already a million other people that could do it. There's already a million other people that are doing it. You got to be for real on what you want to make, and at the end of the day, are you okay just making it for your own computer, for your own ears? But I appreciate you guys watching. You guys take care. See you in the next one. Deuces.